American novelist John Updike once posited that celebrity is a mask that eats into the face. With the advent of new technology, the phenomenon of celebrity has taken bigger and bigger leaps. Stars of early film were soon replaced with those of television and then the internet. And with each platform came floods of fame-hungry narcissists and slick-talking grifters desperate to exploit its reach with their perceived skills or talents. By and large, the meritocratic nature of celebrity, at least in its earlier years, ensured that the cream generally rose to the top. The very best in actors, comedians, athletes, presenters and musicians would for decades entertain the masses, in exchange for fame, fortune and an unrelenting abuse of children with impunity. But with the expansion of mediums meaning more channels than ever being broadcast, the need for entertainment would soon far outweigh the supply of talent capable of providing it. As a result, the turn of the century saw the birth of reality television. Manufactured entertainment usually in the vein of talentless egomaniacs, delusional train wrecks and hordes of disease-riddled cum vessels. The vapid nature of reality television seemed to oscillate in perfect unison with the masses of easily distracted husks watching, and for the first time, droves of civilians scumbags had a chance at something bigger. Under the right circumstances, just about any of society's mentally ill degenerates could see themselves propelled to stardom. Before long, a shift in the entire entertainment industry saw the fundamental quality of content take a back seat to grotesque debauchery and insipid drama. And boy, did people just lap this shit up. However, with the internet now dominating the field of entertainment worldwide, the unyielding thirst for mass validation could now be easily quenched with followers, subscribers and patrons. With YouTube now a permanent fixture in just about anybody's entertainment arsenal, the opportunities to those willing to suck at Google's rancid tit would see the arrival of one of the most reviled creatures of modern times, the E-Celebrity. This documentary will showcase the lengths E-celebrities go to in maintaining their fleeting relevance, namely by following the disturbing tale of one of the internet's most desperate subjects. This is the story of a man who shot to fame with no discernible talents, likeable personality traits, or independent opinions whatsoever. A man who has time and time again adapted his image and reshaped his message in frenetic efforts of maintaining any level of significance. This documentary will further explore the pits of despair these e-celebs continually fall into in their unrelenting quest for click-based feel-goodery. So with that said, I introduce to you Baked Alaska. Anthime Gionnet, or Tim for the heterosexuals amongst us, was born November 16, 1987 in Anchorage, Alaska, to evangelicals Paul and Suzanne Gionnet. His parents had amassed a small fortune thanks to their Russian gospel cult, REM Alaska, and dedicated their lives to brazenly fleecing the impressionable and impoverished alike. Having deemed the barren permafrost of Russia's Far East ideal ground for swindling, the Gionnets began setting up ministries to perform what they call Christian outreach. And as a non-profit who now caters to the Luo tribe in Kenya, it can be safely assumed that this is absolutely not one of those blatant religious scams you so often hear about. Despite being at the behest of his parents' devout ramblings for much of his childhood, little Timmy Gionnet was determined to carve out his own path. Having graduated from Azusa Pacific University armed with a marketing degree, he would somehow land himself a social media job at Warner Brothers Records. It was during Gionnet's marketing work on the Vans Warped tour that the stage name Baked Alaska was given to him, likely due to both his birthplace and weed bro lifestyle. After a short stint working at Capitol Records, the artist now known as Baked Alaska would pursue an ill-fated career in music. With an appearance akin to a Confederate wigger, Gionnet would appear in a succession of bizarre homemade music videos, each with their own unique blend of iMovie effects. In the song I Live on Glaciers, Baked can be seen prancing around to a mountainous backdrop, assuring those watching that, despite any confusion, he does indeed live on a glacier. As for bull moose trapping, Baked combines his absurd mullet and moustache pedophile get-up with knockoff gold chains and grills covering his teeth, and with lyrics that once again make pains to reassure his listenership that he is without any doubt from the state of Alaska. A definite theme here seems to be emerging. Into the Wild saw Baked throw around rap hands in a tatty old camo jacket and novelty sunglasses, again mumbling shoehorned Alaskan rhymes to a scenic backdrop. All in all, ironically or not, he once again looks and sounds like a complete and utter prat.
It's not for sale, it's not for clearance. I'ma stay baked till my last minute. I do it for my fans, for my baked Alaskans. I'll eat the yellow snow if that's what they asking.
Speaking of looking like a complete and utter prat, Baked Alaska's unending efforts at going viral saw him take to video sharing social media platform Vine. Hoping to follow the example set out by Logan Paul and King Bark, Timothy Gianney would instead post what looked like a series of schizophrenic relapses. And as a platform designed to propel the user to viral stardom, this only served to further demonstrate Baked Alaska's insatiable desire for fame at any cost to his dignity.
Today's daily broadcast brought to you by 7-Eleven. Also brought to you by Bush did 9/11. 50 Shades of that ass, squirt like you mean it. Alright then, alright.
They said it couldn't be done. One man, one mission.
They were right. I just eat ass now. I ain't got no chill. I eat the ass every day like a vitamin pill. Yeah.
As it happens, Baked Alaska's somewhat musical background seemed to wildly impress those progressive bloggers at BuzzFeed, who hired Gianney to help support and create their catalogue of hard-hitting online content. And given that Baked was now pretty much a journalist by modern standards, it was up to him to bring viewers' attention to such things as 16 vines only people who smoke will understand, and this grandma just hit the sickest beer pong shot of 2016. But it was Gianney's on-camera talents that seemed to pique BuzzFeed's attention most. And with cutting-edge content such as watching Baked Alaska get his ears pierced in real time, it's pretty obvious what a company like BuzzFeed would see in him.
I'm super nervous about I hate needles, like anything with a needle. I just want to faint. You guys better start soon or I'm gonna run out of this room.
Oh yeah, done.
When tasked by his employers to somehow follow the groundbreaking ear-piercing bit, Gianney would oblige, setting himself up for yet more primo content. Baked Alaska would star in a somewhat wacky viral video where those mad lads at BuzzFeed would swap their phones and treat each other to a series of mischievous pranks.
Example of Alex Ernst's tweet, just say something really up and they're like, hey, what's up, Alex?
I'm gonna fix all your relationships.
That would be amazing. Once I start talking I know Alex is gonna come back and do it the same.
His roommate sent him a text to wake him up at 5. So I called him at 5.
Yeah.
And I told him I wouldn't be able to make rent this month.
It was uncomfortable, it was strange, like I felt dirty.
This unending onslaught of cookie-cutter faggotry even saw BuzzFeed Alaska and friends roleplay parodic sketches from popular Netflix documentary Making a Murderer, cementing his time at the blogging firm as yet another embarrassing checkmark in Tim Gianney's so-called career.
The morning they brought in Timothy Treadstone, it all started to make sense. Of course it'd be him.
I don't think I should do that.
I shot Ned. Say it or I will hurt you.
I shot Ned? Why would you make me say that?
According to Gianney, his exit from BuzzFeed occurred as a result of apparent long-standing conservative values in the face of BuzzFeed's hyper-leftist hugbox environment. In an interview with Business Insider, he spoke of an aha moment, in which a co-worker accused Baked of culturally appropriating Native Americans following a comment calling Justin Bieber his spirit animal. Another totally believable and not at all made-up story involves Gianney being shunned by his colleagues after allegedly storming the BuzzFeed headquarters sporting a MAGA hat. Quite the imagination.
So I was working at BuzzFeed as a closeted conservative. They didn't know that I was like a Trump supporter at the time, and I had to just hide it. And then when I came out public that I was a Trump supporter, I just couldn't take it anymore. Because in the BuzzFeed office in Hollywood, they would openly talk about how they wanted to assassinate Trump, and like when Justice Scalia died, they had a party. They were like taking shots of it. Yeah, that fucker died. Fuck him. And like, yeah.
It's just as I imagined it. Like I always imagined it as a parody in there, but it sounds like it. Yeah.
It's a complete like social SJW like cesspool. Like it is disgusting. And like I just needed a job, and I was running their Twitter because I'm good with social media. So I was running their Twitter and getting a paycheck. And then one day I just could not take it anymore, and I went in with my MAGA hat. And oh man, the looks I got that day, like literally people stopped inviting me to meetings. Like I just got the cold stare, and like it was not okay. It's 99.9% like super leftist.
It seems far more likely that GNA had instead identified the Donald Trump trend of early 2016 and simply wanted a slice of the action. Until now, the only political position Baked Alaska had ever adopted was one in support of urban looting gang Black Lives Matter. Tweets declaring how "we need justice fam" would be followed by the hashtag Black Lives Matter, whilst others would claim he is simply done with white people. In one tweet, he even admitted to protesting for the movement, holding a Black Lives Matter sign and counter-signalling those claiming hashtag All Lives Matter. This is far from the language of a closeted conservative Trump supporter and only serves to call into question his ideological positions.
Oh, how was the CNN thing?
Yeah, it was alright. There was like 10 people.
This is a lot bigger.
Yeah, and we actually had a guy come around in a car, yell "fuck Trump," and then go out, buy signs, and then have a counter protest across the street.
Really?
That said Hitler and
wow,
fuck Trump and all that bullshit.
With an established rapping background, it was only a matter of time before the grills, shades and camo made a reappearance for yet another of Baked Alaska's little jingles. The so-called MAGA anthem has since become the epitome of pre-Trumpian cringe, with the Alaskan leech popping white power gestures whilst bouncing around like a popcorn kernel.
Build the wall, it just got 10 feet higher. Build the wall, it just got 10 feet strong. Build the wall, it just got 10 feet higher. And build and build and build and just build the wall.
This bizarre endorsement of Big Daddy Trump showed GNA sporting a ridiculous horse mane of post-up peroxide. He would cement his pro-Trump heel turn by once again expressing himself through song. In We Love Our Cops, the desperate fame rapist would shamelessly bootlick his way into the authoritarian good books, singing how "we love our cops, our law enforcement."
We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our veterans, they're important. And when they're out at war, you know why I appreciate them more, thank you, Lord.
It was around this time that Baked began latching on to other more successful right-wing personalities in efforts to establish and grow his newly found conservative brand. MILO Yiannopoulos, a lip-triggering prima donna with a proclivity for burning coal, sought the help of GNA in managing his Dangerous Faggot Tour, a series of provocative speeches at university campuses designed specifically to elicit profile-boosting deplatformings.
Please, sir, sir, please, sir, please.
We'd like to ask you to please.
Sir, please.
On paper, the opportunity to chase the growing clout of MILO Yiannopoulos in the run-up to the 2016 election was exactly what Baked Alaska had been waiting for. After all, MILO was, for all intents and purposes, the new face of the alt-right, having co-opted the popular pro-Trump movement in a flurry of self-serving media appearances defending their ideology.
What is the alt-right?
No, I mean, I've never identified as the alt-right. The press seems determined to crown me the queen of it. All I've done is give them a fair hearing in the press. I think that white identity and white nationalism is a little misleading. I think it's more accurate to say that the alt-right cares about Western supremacy rather than white supremacy. It cares about Western values. It cares about liberal, capitalist, Western democracy, democratic values, freedom, equality, that kind of thing. And it sees, various threats to those on various fronts.
Milo's part of that crowd over there. Milo's not alt-right. He never was. He tried to co-opt the alt-right because he's a showboat, and he latches on to any movement he can latch onto. He latched on to the men's rights movement, and then he latched on to the Gamergate movement, and then as the alt-right rose, he tried to latch onto that. No, we don't like Milo. Milo is a promoter of faggotry and pedophilia.
Donald Trump's election run had prompted the exponential growth of content creators, who used platforms like YouTube as a vocal opposition to mainstream support of Hillary Clinton and progressive values at large. And with view and subscriber counts exploding for those on the new right, it was only natural that bad actors would exploit the movement strictly for their own gain. This was an integral point for the Baked Alaska brand, and having seen firsthand the opportunities and cachet afforded to MILO during GNA's time managing the literal Britfag, he now wanted a piece for himself.
I did book that huge Dangerous Faggot tour. I was a big part in creating him. You know, I used to run his social medias, his Twitter, his Vine channel, Instagram, stuff like that, set those up. So yeah, I had, when I first started out, I had a good experience with him.
Baked Alaska's duties to Milo were pretty cut and dry. Book the tour, run his socials, and attend questionable cocaine pajama parties in discreet hotel rooms. However, as the 2016 election drew closer, Baked would instead take the initiative, often reneging on his obligations with Milo in favour of live streaming on location. Ready to take to the streets and make America great again, the former Bernie bro would slip right in to all things MAGA.
We got a lot of people here on YouTube. Hey, the tree just threw a leaf at me. This flower petal came down. The tree.
There's a bloody tampon. They just threw it.
No, it's not. Really?
Yeah.
Wait. Hey, look at that. Hey, I just had a bloody tampon thrown at me. Sir?
But exposure to the darling of the alt-right had only succeeded in sending a hapless Baked into a never-ending world of 1488 Hitler spirals, with his Discord server filling his hollow skull with what basically amounts to a line-by-line retelling of Greatest Story Never Told. Baked Alaska prepared himself to push the Overton window right off a fucking cliff.
What up? I'm lit. Hey. I'm fired up.
Young Damien on the ground.
Dude.
Hey, what's up?
We gotta preserve the white race, bro.
No.
No? You don't like white people?
No, I hate white people.
Why?
White people are the worst.
You are a terrible person, man.
I'm an albino.
Wow.
Hey, all I gotta say is don't make Whitey angry. Because when the white man gets angry, it's not nice. We're very nice. We're very nice. We've been too nice. Such a good influence. I learned all my stuff from Bryden, though, honestly. Hey, I don't...
Unfortunately for Baked Alaska, he was quickly approaching a crossroads. And with Milo understandably frustrated at his manager's split loyalties, it wasn't long before the starfucker was booted altogether. With Baked Alaska's post-election Twitter feed closer resembling Brendan Tarrant's manifesto, Milo, himself a member of the tribe, had seen enough. Having witnessed tweets such as "Jews do control the news, never forget," "Jewish people run 95% of American media," and one simply portraying Laura Loomer in what appears to be a gas chamber operated by Donald Trump with the caption "Et tu Brute," Milo would strike back. In a series of leaked emails, Milo wrote how he needs to understand that Baked Alaska is over. He is not a friend, he is an employee. He is becoming a laughingstock and that reflects badly on me. He continued with, "I think we need to replace Tim. He has no news judgment or understanding of what's dangerous and thinks tweets about Jews are just fine. He seems more interested in his career as an obscure Twitter personality than as my tour manager." This was a big blow for Gione, who is now persona non grata to one of the right's most illustrious characters. Furthermore, he would miss the opportunity to help monetize the continued campus spaz-outs Milo himself would orchestrate. However, Tim would have a slightly different interpretation of events, citing Milo's desire to put himself front and center ahead of the movement as the reason he left the tour.
In my opinion, you know, I don't want to go too much into detail, but I just think now, I still appreciate what he did for me and all that, but I feel like now he's sort of a selfish guy and he's a diva and he's just sort of just all in it for himself and he doesn't really care about the movement, as you would call it, or moving things forward.
Essentially, we have two fame-hungry narcissists accusing each other of putting their own self-interest ahead of the so-called greater good, both seemingly unaware of the brazen hypocrisy of their positions. This divide between the two would go on to represent a larger rift in the conservative right, spelling an end to the fraternal camaraderie enjoyed by once like-minded MAGA celebrities. Having succeeded in their plan to help elect Jared Kushner into office, attention soon turned inward, specifically towards the sudden bad optics of those anti-Semitic shitposters. And with Baked Alaska now spamming triple parentheses to anybody with a Berg in their name, those on the now breakaway alt-light began to disavow. As it happens, a celebratory event known as the Deploraball had been penned for January 19, 2017, as a means of further tap dancing on the rotten corpse of Hillary Clinton. Not yet tired of all that winning, if only they knew, Mike Cernovich, a rapist, put the finishing touches to the ballroom affair. with the notable assistance of fellow organiser Baked Alaska. The pair, with further help from Jack Pacific, had managed to fill the event with a veritable who's who of self-important vloggers. And despite early hiccups in securing a venue, the event was a go for the 19th, except with one small change. In a shocking move, Cernovich would tweet an announcement that Baked Alaska is not a member of the Deploraball committee and will not be attending the event. We wish him well. And in a dramatic follow-up, he would continue with, I can confirm that MILO will now be attending the Deploraball. It was understood that Baked Alaska's toxic Twitter feed had become problematic for those optic-obsessed alt-lighters, and with MILO particularly sensitive as to who he associates with, it was only a matter of when and not if Baked would be thrown off the event.
The argument seems to have begun when New York Magazine writer Jesse Singal pointed out that one of the headliners for the DC event with the Twitter handle Baked Alaska had a history of anti-Semitic and pro-Nazi tweets about, quote, the Jewish question. Drums. So at that point, a guy named Mike Cernovich, who apparently is popular in this crowd, decides that he's going to kick Baked Alaska out of the ball.
Baked would respond with a tweet stating, "You can thank Mike at Cernovich for banning me from my own event for tweets." This would naturally be followed with an army of based 4chaners accusing the convicted woman beater of cooking to the international Jew, whatever that means. Such was the abuse levelled at Cernovich that he was forced to address supporters of Baked Alaska in a live meltdown, claiming to be happy to rid his feed of thousands of Jew-hating losers, before threatening to report Tim's alleged income disparities to the fucking government. Talk about guerrilla mindset.
Keep crying, come on. Keep crying. You're a backstabbing Jew fraud, informant, you're a joke, kike mindset, you're the backstabber. Keep going. I mean, do you think I'm shook? Do you think I'm shook? If I lost 10,000 followers who legitimately hate Jews, then I have not lost 10,000 followers. I have gained 10,000 dregs being out of my life. Tim, remember that $1,000 I gave you for stickers? Stickers, right? Remember when I PayPal'd you $1,000? You said you were going to buy stickers for a work project. Where are the stickers? What happened? What happened to those? What happened to the $1,000 that I gave Tim? Apparently, Tim is getting unemployment. Apparently, he's getting unemployment. So I, of course, am filing a Form 1099 with the IRS and with the California Unemployment Board because I paid him income. So I hope that Tim reported. I hope that Tim reported the income that I gave him. I'm curious. Pop quiz. Who did a Periscope saying that he smoked meth? Who did? Smoked meth. Who said that? That's a druggie. If you smoke meth, you're a druggie. That isn't libel. So I just want to know who is saying that they smoked meth, and that's a druggie. I'm sorry that if you don't know that makes you a druggie, then you should definitely go back to law school.
The event itself would go by largely uneventful, minus a terribly executed swinger to bystander courtesy of the now middle-aged Gavin McGuinness. But then again, what do I know about punk rock? All in all, this sad group of flavourless Zionists would fill the ballroom with cheap tuxedos and red hats, boasting of great big walls before chanting Hillary for prison. Again, if only they knew.
Donald Trump is the first punk rock president we've ever had.
The right, they're the new edgy, they're the new counterculture. We're the ones pushing against the establishment right now, not the left.
Having now been fully ousted from Israel's red-pilled super friends, Baked was now flying solo and ready to be just about anywhere for that viral tag-along. Having been requested by his new friends at Pole to attend Shia LaBeouf's He Will Not Divide Us, an event where streams of unemployable lesbians would shriek anti-patriarchal babble into a webcam, Baked immediately flew to the East Coast, eager to participate. Soon enough, hordes of self-important E-Celebs looking to trigger the libs on camera swarmed the event, each parroting the same pedestrian slogans lifted from dead 4chan message boards.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Such was Baked Alaska's remarkable satisfaction at his appearance that he'd spent the next few weeks conducting a series of head-patting interviews, describing in painful detail exactly how fucking cool this exclusive breed of YouTubing MAGA soldiers truly are.
So tell me about like why you came all the way out to New York for the He Will Not Divide Us thing.
Yeah. So I flew out here from LA. You know, I saw everything going on the stream, and it just got really crazy. And I saw that, you know, Sam Hyde coming out here. Right. I saw that he announced that, and so right when Sam Hyde announced that he was coming out, and I saw a bunch of people from Poll that were like shouting me out and like wondering if I would appear. I'm like, I just need to manifest this into reality. Like, this just needs to fucking happen. This is like the most meta thing I've ever seen, and I'm like a huge like internet Poll, you know, alt-right guy, so I'm like, I need to fucking be here.
Having now attracted his very own clout-chasing e-girl in jelly-breasted hammerhead Brittany Venti, Baked would proceed to the ghastly layers of Compound Media for an appearance on the now-defunct Gavin McInnes show, again to discuss all things Hindu.
He will not divide us.
So you flew down for it?
I flew up from Los Angeles just to come out for this, and then I end up getting banned on the second day.
The pair was subsequently banned from Shire's event, leaving Baked Alaska head-scratching as to when the next E-Tard extravaganza will take place. And with yet more exposure to Hitlerian meme culture courtesy of his Discord server, Baked would continue in his efforts at securing the existence of our E-Celebs and a future for retarded children. The Discord server was at this point dictating his every move, with Gione satisfying each and every whim of his trusty moderators. For Baked Alaska, this community served as a comforting hugbox in the wake of his excommunication from what his server perceived as alt-right fags bought and paid for by Netanyahu loyalists. Fortunately for the once aspiring mumble rapper, the next few months would earn him significant cachet within alt-right circles, and with those identifying as pro-Israel alt-lighters seemingly preoccupied with their PragerU and Rebel Media obligations, it fell to the likes of Baked Alaska to take to the streets and defend the white working man.
Peace offering! Peace offering! Peace offering, please! I want peace! Kendall Jenner did it and it worked! I want to have peace with you guys!
A series of freedom rallies would see Baked involved in a flurry of Civil War reenactment style skirmishes with leftist mob Antifa. Whether at Berkeley, Boston or DC, the MO pretty much remained the same. Announce you and your right-wing friends are to be storming the streets of some liberal shithole, turn up armed with red hats and tiki torches and scream "Jews will not replace us" in the middle of the day. Soon enough, swarms of masked teenagers wielding pepper spray canisters and bike locks would appear, giving the green light to mindless acts of violence and literally no ideological progress in any direction whatsoever.
Like him, I should feel guilty. I should bathe in
said
my white
nothing.
tears.
Said nothing close to that.
You should be ashamed. You should be proud of who you are. You should be proud of how you were born. No one can, you don't know.
I'm proud of my accomplishments.
You should be proud of who you are, man.
I'm proud of my accomplishments in life.
Okay, so if someone's proud to be black, you think that's wrong? Yeah, guys.
It's
you
misguided.
Think that's wrong to be proud to be black? Oh,
I didn't say anything.
Blindsided. You're a beta cuck. You're a communist, and you can get the fuck out of our country, bitch. What? You're a little bitch.
Accompanied by vigilante group The Oath Keepers, a collection of morbidly obese military LARPers offering protection to E-Celebs, Baked would proceed in aggravating the mass of unhinged counter-protesters with relative latitude.
Well, the group is called, they're members of the Oath Keepers. They describe themselves as a nonpartisan organization of former U.S. military, law enforcement personnel dedicated to protecting the U.S. Constitution. Others have different labels for them. The Southern Poverty Law Center refers to them as a bit of an anti-government group with a militaristic bent.
Tony Foreman, widely seen as Baked Alaska's personal bodyguard at these retarded events, saw firsthand the risk in involving himself in such a ridiculous spectacle, following an attack that saw the rotund redhead stabbed 9 times. 2 Armenian assailants were heard screaming racial epithets in a parking lot following the near-fatal stabbing, highlighting to what insane lengths these pointless get-togethers inevitably reach. But rather than heed what was a clear foreshadowing of times to come, Baked would instead continue in his pursuit of 4chan acclaim. A speech at DC's Freedom Rally would cement the former bus feeder as the new plaything of the alt-right.
And now all of a sudden,
everyone's getting butthurt. Everyone's afraid to be called racist, to be called anti-Semitic, to be called all these names, and I think it's garbage.
Having now completed his metamorphism into right-wing street activist, Baked Alaska would spend the summer of 2017 playing the yin to Antifa's yang. Oblivious to the inherent pointlessness of it all, the /pol mouthpiece would mindlessly persist in his triggering of low-T radicals in balaclavas, hell-bent on bashing the fash.
You know, we see these Marxist ideologies, we see the communists coming into our schools, into academia, and we see all these problems that we have, and it is discouraging, I will be honest. It is rough to see. I never thought I would live in a country where I say I'm proud to be a white Christian male, and they say I'm racist, okay? Can we say this? You should be proud of who you are. I don't care what you look like, what you believe, you should be proud of who you are.
But it was a rally in Charlottesville, Virginia in August 2017 that would put a necessary kibosh to all these outlandish events. Unite the Right saw the likes of Richard Spencer, Nick Fuentes, Faith Goldie, James Alsop, Eric Stryker and Mike Enoch attend the event in peaceful protest to the absurd removal of a statue of Robert E. Lee from Charlottesville's Lee Park. During one of his shows on the leather-faced pedophile network, Gavin McGinnis declined his invite, citing his unwillingness to be associated with neo-Nazis, and his foresight would be quickly affirmed following alarming scenes displaying Baked Alaska and friends carrying tiki torches whilst saluting the Fuhrer. Chants alluding to Israel's globalist blueprint of white replacement would bellow from the lungs of excitable YouTubers, with even Brittany Venti's bulbous sacks of chest fat occasionally seen wobbling amongst throngs of shirtless Proud Boys.
Contact! This is crazy. Hey, what's up, dude? What's up? What's up? Hey, how are you? This is absolutely crazy. Place us. What's up? Hey! You will not replace us! You will not replace us! You will not replace us! Holy shit! Woo! You will not replace us! People coming down the stairs. You will not replace us! You will not replace us! White lives matter! 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 Oh shit! Back up, back up, back up! You gotta get footage. Come on, go right there. That's as far as you can go, okay.
Amongst the cries of blood and soil and White Lives Matter marched Baked Alaska, accompanied by a flock of opportunist content creators, each waving smartphones around like glow sticks whilst reporting on Antifa's every move to their devoted super chatters. But amongst the sheer exhilaration of walking up a street, serious trouble began to brew.
No racism in Charlottesville? Well then maybe you should get the fuck out of here later. A lot of soy boys. Soy boys are here. Soy bodies are here. Let's get the fuck out of our country, bitches. Yeah, come up to me. Come up to me, bitch. Sure. Yeah, you won't. You won't. You're a pussy. We are taking this country back, guys. You should probably be in the middle. I should be in the middle. Okay, they're forming a wedge over here.
As tensions worsened, Baked Alaska's panic at potential violence towards him rose sharply. With those defending him otherwise engaged in sporadic melees of their own, Baked would be left increasingly isolated, faced with defending himself against a mob of rabid anti-fags. His big day out, however, would be comically cut short following an alleged pepper spraying of his face and eyes, rendering him incapacitated and in need of medical assistance. Or so he says. Baked Alaska would spend his final Charlottesville moments writhing around the grass and begging for milk, before riot police cleared the scene, declaring the gathering an unlawful assembly. And with bricks, firecrackers and even flaming aerosol cans being hauled across the Charlottesville skies, shutting the event down was perhaps the prudent move at the time.
Where's our people? We're surrounded. Whoa, I got sprayed. I just got fucking sprayed. I just got fucking pepper sprayed. Oh, fuck.
Dude, keep your eyes
open. Oh, I got pepper spray. I got fucking pepper spray.
Thank you, guys. Keep moving.
I got fucking pepper spray. I need milk. I need milk. I need milk. I need milk. I got pepper spray. What the fuck? What the fuck? I need milk. I need milk. I need milk right now.
What happened?
I need milk. I got pepper sprayed. Help. 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 Milk right now, please. I got medic. Medic. Help. It's burning. It's bear mace. I know. Fuck. Bear mace to the eye. Straight to the eye.
Okay. Hold on. Hey, somebody grab it.
Help me.
No, that.
Calm down. You gotta breathe. Breathe. Help. Breathe.
You're good, Big, all right? It just hurts like shit, dude.
It's okay. It's all right. Calm down.
It hurts like a motherfucker. You're gonna be okay.
I need to rub it. Calm down.
No, you don't want to rub it, dude. You want to let it rub it.
Help.
But the violent rhetoric was far from one-sided, with counter-protesters gleefully screaming, "Kill all Nazis," whilst throwing projectiles indiscriminately towards anybody in a red hat. Yet it was the actions of a certain James Fields Jr. following the forced shutdown of the rally that would be forever etched into the history books. Sitting in a silver Dodge Challenger, Fields, an adolescent with a history of mental illness, suddenly found himself surrounded by a gaggle of rampaging communists, with the maniacal crowd now beating on his vehicle with anything they could grab a hold of. James Fields, likely due to his acute social anxiety caused by severe autism, understandably panicked before attempting to drive off as fast as possible. Tragically, he ploughed right into a crowd of counter-protesters, contributing towards the unfortunate passing of Heather Heyer.
So if you were watching and you saw the car that was just that's destroyed in front of me, basically someone drove right through about 16 people into the back of that car, and then they went in reverse and fled. It's not clear whether that car is being pursued, whether they've arrested the driver. However, the people here tell me that it was intentional, and it seems like a lot of people are injured and potentially up to 2 critically injured. One was going under CPR and didn't appear to be successful.
Unfortunately, the obvious narrative following the tragedy was far too tantalising for those you-know-what's-in media to ignore. Heather Heyer was allegedly killed by a heartless Nazi hell-bent on wiping feminism from both the planet and his front windshield, one mowing down at a time. At least this was the testimony given by prosecutors seeking life in prison for James Fields. But regardless of clear mitigating circumstances leading up to Heather Heyer's untimely death, Charlottesville was a regrettable cross to bear for everybody involved.
Since January of 2017, the Department of Justice has indicted 32 defendants on hate crimes charges, and it has secured convictions against 31 individuals involved in hate crimes incidents. The Attorney General has emphasized that combating hate crimes is a pillar of the department's nationwide effort to eliminate violent crime.
The aftermath of Charlottesville left everybody on the right in a total panic. Suddenly there were fingers pointed, accusations flown, and disavowals aplenty. Those in attendance were understandably hit hardest, and given their presence was seen as a key ingredient to rising tensions at the rally, it was them who were first fed to the wolves. And with Christopher Cantwell bawling his little eyes out at the prospect of facing 2 years in jail following his alleged use of pepper spray, those on the alt-right had finally stopped winning.
I'm armed. I do not want violence with you. All right? I'm terrified. I'm afraid you're going to kill me. I really am. All right? So, just let's do this however we need to do it. You know, if I got to go to jail today, you know, it won't be the fucking first time. All right? I don't want to. I don't think I should. I think I honestly believe that I've been law-abiding, and I've been engaged in violence. I have. There's no question about it, and I've done nothing to hide that.
As for those alt-like boomers Gavin McGuinness and Mike Cernovich, well, they were far too busy wrapped up in "I told you so's" to shoulder any of the actual blame. And despite their reluctance to join the festivities being more about Nazi optics in the face of their Zionist benefactors than actual safety concerns, they were still smart enough not to go.
When I first heard of it back in May and June, was all about we want to oppose taking down statues. They want to take down the Robert E. Lee statue. Let's fight that, and everyone from the right should be there. You know, it's let's unite conservatives. Sounds good. Then it started morphing into something much worse, and I said, I'm out. I want to make sure Proud Boys have nothing to do with it. Make sure our name isn't on the flyer. I'm not going. Disavow, disavow, disavow. Some guy said, why? Believing the rhetoric, right, of this sort of ethereal notion of right to free speech, peaceful assembly. No, This is not what's happening on the ground. This is getting ugly.
Despite claiming to have potentially suffered permanent eye damage following his purported mace attack, Baked Alaska's incredible recovery had forums abuzz with accusations of foul play. Bizarrely, nobody standing around Giannet at the time seems to have been affected whatsoever by the attack, whilst Baked himself seemed perfectly fine the next day. As it stands, following his involvement with the optics abortion that was Charlottesville, Baked Alaska was left with a complete PR shitstorm no amount of milk could soothe. Before long, the walls around the Third Reich activist would close in, leaving a despairing Baked begging his former E-friends to put their differences aside and reunite against the left.
I encourage people to unite against the left, and even if we don't agree on everything, I encourage people really to put our differences aside for a little bit. Imagine if me, Milo, Mike Cernovich, and Bill Mitchell teamed together. Imagine what we could do. Imagine the damage we could do to the left. That's what we did during the election, right?
Elsewhere, Baked Alaska's compounding issues around his eroding brand would only worsen following one of the dumbest legal threats in judicial history. After photoshopping himself with a gun pointing towards the screen with the caption, "Get in bitch, we are saving the world," he would later claim @AJ Plus had themselves photoshopped the image in order to defame him, before claiming a big lawsuit is on the way. Luckily for the half-baked Alaskan, his ability to tweet stupid shit would be charitably removed, following yet another purge of accounts belonging to who Twitter deems alt-right neo-Nazis. Jared Taylor, Brad Griffin and Baked Alaska would be ceremoniously booted from the platform, whilst Richard Spencer, Jason Kessler and James Alsop were callously stripped of their precious blue checkmarks. Oh, the humanity. Baked responded to the suspension in the only way he knew how, by throwing a 9-hour tantrum in a fast food parking lot. This would mark an absurd peak in a history of Baked Alaskan self-owns.
There's absolutely nothing, no reason why I got suspended. I haven't even tweeted for close to 2 days. Go look at my account. Haven't tweeted for 2 days. I just woke up, my Twitter account doesn't work, it says you're permanently suspended. How am I gonna get my account back? How am I gonna get my freaking account back? My account, 200,000 followers, was just permanently suspended for no freaking reason.
Now at his lowest point, Giannet was forced to abandon his Californian dream and move back up north to the cold desolation of Alaska. And with no fellow YouTubing superstars to orbit, Baked was faced with yet another of his now famous rebrands. Meanwhile, with fist-fighting leftists in traffic off the table for now, the online right needed a place to reassert their ideological might. And with stuttering nipple-burner Andy Warski making serious bank platforming self-admitted white separatists on his Warski live show, Baked would stumble across his most inspired plan yet. Do exactly the same as Andy.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Baked Alaska show. It is your host, Mr. Baked Alaska. How are you guys doing? Welcome. So we have an exciting show today. Sorry about the background. I am sort of in the middle of moving here to a new place, and so things are a little wrapped up.
The Baked Alaska experience, another borrowed masterstroke, saw Baked Alaska attempting to moderate a series of discussions he rarely understood. In a phenomenon known as internet blood sports, the very best in YouTube's personal or political disagreements could play out to thousands of rabid super chatters. And with deserting trailer dweller Tonkasaw on mornings and an alcoholic ball of fat for late nights, the absurd demand for mindless e-dramatics could now be fully satisfied.
You know, there were some stupid people there, of course, I would agree with that, but there was also some good people there.
Wait, wasn't Charlottesville the literal, like, Nazis that...
Are you joking? I can't tell if you're being serious.
Wait, I thought that, I'm pretty sure Charlottesville had literal self-described
It was not a Nazi rally, no.
Wait, are you sure about this?
I'm positive, yeah, I was there. Were you there?
I wasn't there, but every article that I read on this described it, and I think the organizers were...
Yes, you read fake news, Destiny. That's what happened.
The rules to moderating internet blood sports were fairly simple. Number 1, lie to the participants. Make it appear as though this is nothing more than a simple opportunity for a healthy beef squash. Number 2, immediately take the side of whoever the chat hates least, regardless of who's actually winning. Number 3, invite an indiscriminate number of regulars to needlessly pile on, then play dumb as to how on earth they got there. Number 4. Completely disrupt the flow of debate every so often in order to pound through the super chats, thus encouraging further pay piggery. And number 5. Check your DMs, Jim wants in.
There's simply no counter to that. There is simply no counter to the fact that in 2 separate elections, blacks went more than 95% for the person that looks like them. RC, they've been here for 400 years. When's the assimilation going to happen? How long do we have to wait for them to go 40 for one and 60 for the other, 50 for one? These are dictator margins.
It was as though Internet Bloodsports was designed precisely to Baked Alaska's exact specifications. It allowed him to flirt with the ethno-nationalists and race realists and yet remain fairly neutral. It also catered to his tendencies in involving himself with petty internet drama. But most important of all, IBS came with it an endless flow of voluntary donations without the need to work some sort of manipulative angle. And providing Baked Alaska could find somebody stupid enough to jump in and play lightning rod for the chat's relentless abuse for 3 hours, he was home free.
Did you show a picture of her, or was it you just said his mom is a Democrat?
I think I took a screenshot of one of her pictures, and like I said, this was months ago, but you can Google it.
I would not like that. If someone posted a picture of my mom,
his mom,
I would
sickening. Are you fucking?
I would explode on you.
But he and his buddies over at The Right Stuff, they're constantly doxing people. They're constantly harassing people and calling them on the show.
So you did it. Wait. So you did it to teach him a fucking lesson?
Not to teach him a lesson, but
like, hey, I can put your mother's information up. Didn't you just tell us about how hard it was to be a single woman on the internet and you get all these death threats and all this shit thrown at you? And then you put his fucking mom's picture out. You know what was going to happen. You're not dumb.
But it's not, I'm not giving her number out. I'm not giving her address out.
Here's a picture of this hated guy's mother. Go find her. Are you kidding me?
As the Charlottesville dust began to settle, Baked Alaska's ability to reach out to those he'd once associated with put him in a unique position within the internet Bloodsports community. And after somehow platforming a discussion between white nationalist Jared Taylor and the quite wonderful Tariq Nasheed, it turned out the rise, fall and rise again of Baked Alaska really was a story for the ages.
Then if we pick out the most powerful people on the planet, then we can be sure they're white supremacists?
Yes, most of them, yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Or suspected white supremacists.
The black violent crime rate is no higher than the white rate. Let's just leave it at that. Because you appear to believe that, and I find that fascinating, but I think there are other things that are actually rather more interesting.
But the black crime rate has always been high because blackness is itself a crime.
So you're telling me that the entire globe was dominated by Africans, and they had this honor system by black people, yes, black people. And they had this honor system. They were trusting, wonderful, simple friends of the earth. And then along came these white people, and they, although they're a tiny minority, they tricked and hoodwinked and deceived them into a status of inferiority. Is that your view?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
100%.
In fact, such was the success of Baked Alaska's rebound that he even managed to contribute towards Sargon of Akkad's meteoric downfall, following a deserved pushing back against the Milkshake Kid, more of which you can learn by watching the wildly celebrated documentary The Sargonian Effect.
Sargon, you are a laughingstock of the internet right now because you are intellectually dishonest. It's not the alt-right, it's the whole internet. I was a fan of you, Sargon. I was a big fan of you. I was a big fan of you.
Anything.
You need to get off your high horse, Sargon. I want you to succeed.
To anything that I'm saying, you don't understand what I'm trying to
You
put.
need to stop
forward
having
to
this smug attitude about everything. We want to like you. We want to
I
engage with you.
I don't care if you like
You
me
don't
or
care.
not.
I'm not talking about
interested
me.
in
I'm
what's
speaking.
true.
I'm speaking for the entire internet. This is what the entire internet thinks.
I'm sure that you are the voice of the entire internet.
I am
But
the voice
listen,
of the internet.
As the kind of guy forever in hot pursuit of fresh opportunity, making money hand over fist for what essentially was old rope from the confines of his own lodgings was still not enough for Baked Alaska. Before long, his eyes were once again drawn to the rancid, shit-riddled streets of Los Angeles, in another desperate shot of E-famed faggotry. Baked would prepare himself for perhaps the most striking of personality shifts to date, after modelling his new career change on the spaghetti-armed antics of Ice Poseidon. Baked Alaska was now, for all intents and purposes, an in-real-life streamer, meaning he would spend his days patrolling the streets of LA, scripting retarded drama and armed with a selfie stick and a Bluetooth speaker. He would then receive a flurry of racist text-to-speech donations, enthusiastically informing passers-by of his hatred for Jews and N people.
Also, give shout out to Kronos and American Pie, Pride, and T-Clips.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a lot of clips after today.
Shout out to Billy the Anti-Bully.
This is some Jake Paul shit. Ban them.
Baked Alaska's IRL career would kick off in style with the help of fellow IBS alumni Andy Warski, with the pair being quickly detained by police, deeming their attention-starved faggotry far too much even for Los Angeles. As it happens, playing Fuck Kike's Race War Now on an endless loop through your Bluetooth speaker sends random bystanders into quite the tizzy. Who'd have thought?
I love the cops, and I appreciate your service. I'm a big patriot, and I support what you guys do. I back the Blue Lives Matter, so if that means anything, thank you.
You actually have a channel about that. That's actually,
No, I made a song called We Love Our Cops, Our Law Enforcement, We Love Our Military, They're Important.
Fresh from his righteous hang with Andy, it didn't take Baked Alaska long to find himself a new best friend. Sweet Erin, a highly medicated valley girl and all-round radioactive plasma thought, quickly attached herself to Baked, often appearing on stream uncomfortably close to a clearly sexually frustrated Q&A.
Can't take this alone. What sick people are...
As Baked continued to orbit himself into oblivion, his once based and red-pilled chat began to turn hard. To them, Baked was now a shameless cuckold who'd sold himself to the vapid world of West Coast celebrity. And in surrounding himself with copy and paste leeches and vacuous e-girls, usually on stream, his chat just may have had a point. To make matters worse, he was soon inducted into Ice Poseidon's CX network, joining a desperate roster of vacant clout chasers.
What's their Instagram?
Yeah. Guys, you need to summon the girls. Summon the girls here. We need the girls to show up.
Why am I here, dude?
You're here to see your friend.
I am. I love you.
I love you, dude.
I loved you, Baked Alaska.
I love you too. Dude, you defended me the other day on the stream. You're like, you're not an anti-centipede. And
No way.
You're not.
I know.
You're not. I mean,
I'm just like a regular dude, and these SJWs come after me all the time.
His Hollywood capers soon caught the attention of his old friends in Bloodsports, with Mr. Metica appearing in Baked Alaska's chats to mercilessly ridicule his new direction. In a matter of months, the former right-wing activist had completely shed his alt-right skin, and was now seemingly embedded in the trivial world of LA bro shenanigans courtesy of the CX network.
Hey, what's up? I wonder if those dudes know he's gonna try and fuck them after his meth trucker experience. Baked is a changed man. Pray for them. Hey, what's up, Jim? What's going on, dude? Nice to see you. Nice to see you in the chat. All right.
Oh, I met Jim. Hi, Jim. Is that the Asian girl that's on Discord 24/7?
Yeah. Why don't we go get some girls from the street corner?
You want to go live stream on the street? Those are called hookers.
Respond to Jim. What did Jim say? I don't see it.
Yeah.
He'll have to say it again, or you guys have
Who's
to tell
Jim?
me.
They keep on mentioning Jim.
Jim is a cool dude. Thank you, Terrence, for the
Is he one
sub.
of your moderators?
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
Now that's fucking based.
Jim is our lord. Put Jim on stream. Okay, where is?
Yeah, who's Jim?
Nikita's stream waiting room.
Yeah, you guys have to wait. Yeah,
Mr.
Mediker.
Mediker.
Hey, catch me on Snapchat though. XXX
Oh, he
Baked
said-
Alaska. XXX.
He said she is coming. Hey, something Baked has never been able to say before. Congrats.
Yo, guys, we just talked about
Cringe
Baked's version,
Alaska.
dude.
Yeah. It just keeps getting gayer and gayer. Yeah. Yeah. This might as well just call this gay stream at this point. Jim is gonna clip. No, Jim better not clip that shit.
And from there, things would only get weirder for LA's newest E-Celeb, with Baked Alaska now assembling himself a crack team of kudos-latching parasites in their never-ending quest for what some might consider content.
99% sure she wants to hang out with me, and you guys were not being helpful at all.
Well, dude, that's my.
What?
I don't think you know who Erin is.
Apparently not.
She's been like hanging out on my streams all week.
Oh, are you getting with her?
What? Oh my god. Like.
Oh, all right.
so
Well, then I won't. But he's trying to get with her.
A lot of people are trying to get with her.
Well, I'm pretty sure I could.
He's even. I don't.
If you don't want me to, I can respect that. You know.
Do I like Erin? I mean, I'm just friends with her. Like.
What incarnation?
When I asked if I could have her number, she was like, yes.
Stop fighting over a thought. Yeah.
Oh wow.
No more brother wars.
Hey, Dylan.
He's not a brother.
Aaron's watching the stream.
He's not a brother.
She's watching this?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Somebody just told me that.
She just watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh well.
With the chat now actively working towards seeing him fall, celebrity life for Baked Alaska was proving to be a lot harder than he once thought. And with Gione having alienated his base, the only entertainment value for those left watching was in attempting to trigger Baked into some sort of spiralling meltdown. And on April 17th, 2018, they achieved just that, forcing Baked Alaska, the far-right Antifa-bashing free speech warrior, to attack his own chat for toxic speech.
Baked sold out to the Jews? Okay. Anyone who has a problem with me hanging out with Jewish friends or Jewish people, you're like if I have a black friend over, they're like, oh, Black Alaska, like just shut the fuck up. I'm gonna get a Star of David like tatted on my neck just to piss you guys off because it's so annoying.
You're
Holy
acting
shit.
insane, and you are acting so. It's boring. Do you understand? Stop
whining on the internet. Oh, the Jews. You sound like the fucking black people that are like, oh, Whitey's holding me down. Thank you, Nick, for the sub.
Victim.
You know, like the blacks that play the victim card.
Like
And like, oh, Whitey's holding me down. Oh, keep the positive vibe in the chat, okay? Yeah, come on, John Gold. Come on. We need you mods to
step it up.
Step it up, mods. I've put my life on the line, okay? I've like. You know, I could have kept everyone who says Cooked Alaska, okay? I could have stayed at BuzzFeed, kept my good salary, shut my fucking mouth, and never talked about anything political ever. I would expect that you guys would respect me in my chat and we would have a good time here, okay? So, show some respect back, please, okay? I would appreciate that. And I would appreciate if my mods would be good mods and also uphold that spirit in the chat and not just like this gets sadder every day. Okay, dude, just leave. Just leave. Baked, you're gay. You'll never get with a girl. Blah blah blah. You're a faggot. And then I have a hot girl over. Baked. The pussy's changing you. Baked. The pussy's Can we stop this nonsense?
Pussy is powerful, apparently, according to you.
A lot of influencers that are doing a lot of good things are really annoyed with the toxic people, and we don't want them in our communities. We're like, we don't want you around if you're being toxic, okay?
To further escalate the fast-growing hostility aimed towards his big fat head, Baked Alaska took the fight to drama clip channel Kronos, snapping at the archiver for almost no reason whatsoever.
Hey, Kronos, You cannot come on my channel and spam promoting another channel. That's a really shitty, snaky thing. Please stop doing that, man. That's really stupid.
Once again, Mr. Metica was quick to jump in, questioning whether unironically labeling oneself an influencer was the best way to combat a chat of easily bored 8chaners. Accompanied by an entourage of totally for real autists, Baked was immediately put on the back foot, with Metica, or Jim as he's sometimes referred, claiming correctly that he had lost touch and sold out.
I don't know what you're doing, Mr. I don't want toxicity. I don't want bad things in my chat. How's that working out, fag? Look at the other channel. Look at the other channel with thousands of people fucking watching, making a shit ton of money because they got something interesting. How's the hug box working out for you, Bake?
What's a hug box?
That's what you find yourself in the center of it in right now, Mr. I don't like toxicity.
I don't.
Problematic language. I'm an influencer. You ain't influencing shit tonight, buddy.
Okay.
I thought I was supposed to be entertaining.
It is entertaining.
The least entertaining thing I've ever seen.
Holy shit. I don't think.
Baked, would you do me a favor and tell Sally O'Malley from the Valley and Cali to shut her fucking mouth so the men can talk?
Yeah, no, she just said this is the most boring shit. Now you're hating on my shit? I was a little worried. I overreacted. I want people to be in my community and have fun. So I made the mistake. I apologize.
and I've been getting back to having fun and not like trying to be someone I'm not. I'm being myself now. So
yeah, but baked, it comes off as disingenuous because you never had a problem with that before. You had people posting shit like that in your chat for years. It never was an issue before. Yeah, but it was once Aaron showed up that suddenly it became an issue for you. Once a little bit of pussy came in the picture, suddenly it became an issue for you.
The intervention quickly turned into a full-bore screaming match, with those watching treated to a rare sight indeed, Jim losing his cool. In Jim's defense, it was generally felt that Baked had accumulated his following largely due to his alt-right campaign against far-left terrorists and alt-light shills. So to see him now playing patter cake with the Wilmington Leech Squad in hopes of cross-streaming with Sam fucking Pepper was a huge smack in the face to his declining supporter base. And with Baked Alaska's blind indifference to criticism only isolating him further, it appeared his brief comeback was finally over.
I love you, Jim, but guess what? You're fucking anonymous. I'm in the streets getting attacked by Antifa. I love you, but just I go through a lot of stress.
No. You chose to put yourself there, Baked. You could have made any video you wanted. You could be a Let's Player. You could do a cooking channel.
Yeah, and guess what? You would shit on me for that. You would shit on me for that. But guess what?
Did I shit on you for that? No, I shit on you for turning on your fucking audience when it became convenient, you Hollywood sellout.
I told my audience.
You shit on your audience because it was convenient and you wanted money, Baked. And it comes through crystal fucking clear that you did that. Came out crystal fucking clear that you turned on them because it became convenient.
Well, then why are you watching my content?
I'm not going to be watching your content anymore, Baked. I'm not going to be watching it if you're a fucking sellout. I have no interest in watching disingenuous shit.
I'm a sellout because I'm fighting for our country and Antifa's.
Oh yeah, sing me the song of your people.
Wait.
Yeah. I'm gonna ban people in chat because it's toxic. Oh, I didn't really mean it. But I'm a freedom fighter because I'm out talking about Antifa. Fuck off.
Why don't you show your fucking face?
Oh, okay. Hey, good luck, asshole, with your channel, Baked. Nobody's gonna fucking watch it. Until you get down in mediocrity. In mediocrity where you belong, you fucking sellout asshole. Have fun with the thought. Have fun with your LA friends. Let's see how well it works out for you. Let's see how well it works out for you, you fucking cunt.
On an amusing side note, unconfirmed reports surfaced stating Dylan, the troglodyte in the grey polo shirt, was a meth-headed maybe pederast convicted of possession for voluntarily handing over his stash at a traffic stop. Furthermore, his father had apparently written a book outlining his son's severe autism. As posited by Greek fable maker Aesop, a man is known by the company he keeps.
Man, what type of shit that is? Yo, if you don't like it, unsubscribe.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch, we're not forcing you to watch.
Oh, that is the worst. What are you doing? You told me you wanted growth. You told me you wanted to grow your channel and get an audience. And then once you grow your channel and start to get an audience, you turn around and say, we don't fucking need you, unsubscribe. Do you think that's smart?
If you're dissing us, if you're throwing salt in our game.
In your game? What the fuck are you talking?
Yo, sorry, someone in the background is talking to you.
No one unsubscribe.
Dylan, stop.
A Warski livestream the following day had Baked Alaska once again facing off with Mr. Metica, batting away further criticism towards his new anti-toxic stance as an IRL influencer. And with Hollywood Alaska now trading his old manager, a balding swindler known as Scuffed Steve Jobs, for a shapeless 4 out of 10 Mexican named Samaria, it was clear the walls of the Baked camp were beginning to crumble. The stream began in typical Fool's fashion, especially following the arrival of Mr. Metica. For example, it was revealed that Baked had previously forced wheelchair-bound streamer Teft Patton to send show ideas or suggestions that he himself had asked for to his fucking Streamlabs as a monetary donation.
Well, and you bring up like toxicity in your chat. I want to bring up toxicity of hosts. Teft brought up an interesting point. You were asking people for clips so you could play it on your show because you want content when you're running late in the morning, whatever. I mean, it's like a 4-hour stream, you needed shit to talk about or watch.
Right.
He put up a clip for you, spammed it 10 times in the chat. You looked at it and said, great, put that through Streamlabs. So you ask a guy to go do something for you and he does it for you, but you're not going to accept it. Teft. You're not going to, you're a mod on your fucking stream. So you're not going to take the fucking link from
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, okay, but
there's a lot of
Right, but
no, I like that. There's a lot of things going. There's a lot of things going on in the chat, and there's a lot.
Let him finish. Big, let him finish.
You told him to put it. You saw it, and then said, "Great, put it into Streamlabs." So you want him to pay you money to do the thing you asked him to do. How's that not taking advantage of your fucking audience?
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
What he's saying is, you asked Teft to find something.
I did not ask
specifically
anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't. Sometimes I'll ask someone to do something. So many things will be going on. All the chat's going crazy. I've given wrenches to like 100 people. I'm sorry. I can't keep track of everything. Okay.
Those in the stream would also confront Sweet Erin, the attention-starved pill whore Baked Alaska had for weeks been drawling over to no avail, pressing for her thoughts on Baked as a romantic prospect. As it happens, even if she was single, which she was not, he'd apparently be hard-pressed for as much as a quick sympathy tug. Now, if only there was a word for that thing where you orbit a woman that has absolutely no interest in you whatsoever and proceeds to fuck other men with no regard to your feelings.
Okay, Baked Alaska's imploding right now, and this chick is loving every second of the spotlight.
It's beautiful, Mr. Kerr. You know what's happening right now, Mr. Kerr?
What's happening?
You cannot take it that there's a girl who throws better than you.
I don't know if I'd call it being a troll or being a whore. If you know how sensitive Baked is, and you know that he has feelings for you because he keeps talking about how complicated it is, that he doesn't know if he's dating Erin or not, but he definitely seems to like to try to guard against other guys showing an interest. Then why are you leading him around by his dick? Why are you sitting on his lap? Why are you acting flirtatious with him? It just seems like you're throwing pussy in his face that he's never going to tap.
The remainder of the stream would meander between Mr. Metoka poking and prodding at Baked Alaska's fragile ego, and Tonka and Warski for some reason offering what appeared to be career advice. As expected, Baked wriggled and squirmed, presenting a series of misguided rationalizations, such as the ludicrous suggestion that turning on your fan base fulfills some sort of IRL quota for dope content.
I want to say to Jim, I did not turn on my fans. You are making a false narrative with Ralph Retort and these other faggots. I never turned on my fans.
Clips out of my ass?
Let me fucking finish.
I'll let you finish when you stop spouting bullshit. You can go to Chrono's channel and watch the videos. It's Baked Alaska versus his chat.
No,
there's 40 minutes of it.
Okay, so I will be clear of what I said to my chat. I banned about 8 to 10 people. I don't want people saying things like kill niggers, kill Jews. I'm so sorry that I don't want that.
Unless it's a super chat, right?
No, if someone does it, no, I don't want inciting violence.
Would you say, in your mind, deeply, do you believe that you have let a part of your audience believe that you were someone that you were not?
I absolutely do not believe that. Have my beliefs evolved and changed over time? Do I have nuance with my beliefs? Yes, absolutely.
I think what he's doing is pure faggotry, and I'm sick of seeing people.
Okay, so what am I doing? What's faggotry? What's faggotry that I'm doing?
Where they become sellouts. I'm sick and tired.
What's faggot?
I'm sick of this red pill shit that these fuckers promote, and then they turn around and ditch it when it's convenient. Faggot! Let me finish talking. You
yes or no? Would you want people to say that in your chat?
Baked, have I ever banned anybody for saying it? Is that good enough for an answer? Yeah, I have no problem. People can say whatever the fuck they want.
Okay, so that's okay.
Yeah, because I'm not a bitch. I don't ban, I don't block. I'm not a pussy that hides like you, Baked.
Okay, well, that's fine.
They can say whatever they want. They can call me a faggot. They can scream nigger until they're blue in the face. I've never blocked or banned anybody in my chats on my streams that do way bigger than yours, buddy.
Okay. Yes,
so I don't know who your manager is who's telling you that's problematic for your brand because they're fucking retarded.
But it was events the following day that would essentially put Baked out to pasture for good. The Morning Kumite, an internet radio show ran by an indigenous meth addict, hosted the latest in Bloodsport's fag battles, with Baked Alaska pitted against the gelatinous Zanhead of the RalphRetort.com.
You're thirsting after a spick who won't even give you the pussy. You're thirsting after some fucking crack whore who won't give you the pussy. Not only will she not give you the pussy, you're getting cucked in front of thousands of fucking people. That's how fucking pathetic you are, dude. Fucking kill yourself, faggot. That's how fucking pathetic you are.
You're telling me
a crack whore won't suck your dick. Not only will she not suck your dick, she's making fun of you in front of everybody else. She's laughing at you. She's going on other shows laughing at you, dude. That's what's so fucking hilarious.
Ralph is mad. Oh, Ralph is
funny.
Mad.
It's serious. Like, wow.
I get lots of pussy. You have no idea.
Oh, is that right?
No idea what I do.
All I know is there's about 500 videos of you getting cucked.
Okay, so
there's a video of you trying to hit on a 13-year-old and you got cucked by a 13-year-old.
Let me get this right. Okay,
you got cucked by some bitch you were trying to walk home and she's like, wow, this dude's creepy as fuck, and she just walked the other direction. I mean, there
you've been
is
watching
fact
you've been
after
watching
fact.
a lot of my videos, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fucking hilarious. Of course, I've been watching them. What I like to laugh. I mean, you bring joy to my life. Of course, I'm gonna watch them. Actually, Baked, I'm glad you mentioned Black Lives Matter because you are a confirmed supporter of Black Lives Matter. You used to work for BuzzFeed. You know, there are all kinds of tweets where you're sucking Black Lives Matter's cock. So who are you to fucking try to use that line, dude? Your whole fucking career is a fraud. You went from Black Lives Matter to fucking gas the Jews to God, now we can't say this type of thing anymore. You're a fucking fraud. Your whole career is fraudulent.
Then why did you rate the fucking?
You do is a fucking fraud, dude.
Amongst the chaos of uncontrollable screeching, Baked Alaska would accuse Andy Worski of being a cokehead, alluding to the fact he may have snorted a line or two during their earlier LA adventures. Andy responded angrily by claiming Baked had shared certain privileged information pertaining to a high-profile streamer, potentially supplying Class A drugs, before threatening to drop a bomb on Baked if further provoked.
And you know who does do drugs? You guys want to know who actually does drugs?
Who?
In here? No. It's someone in here. You guys want to know?
Who is it?
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you guys guess?
If you want to take my advice, then take it. If you don't, then don't. But I believe that if you did what I said to do, that you'd be in a way better spot, and I think you could still fix it if you do that.
Well, good.
Opinion.
Well, I don't take advice.
Everything I've said, you're like, no, Andy, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine. Well, I'm trying my best, buddy.
Yeah, because I don't take advice from cokeheads. That's why.
Hey, can I ask you something? How did your lawsuit go?
You're a cokehead, okay?
No, I'm fucking not. Fuck out of
Yes,
here.
you are. Okay.
Fuck out of here.
You guys want to talk about drugs? Let's talk about drugs. Let's talk about drugs right now.
Hang on. I told a few stories how I did that.
You did not do a few stories, Andy. Oh, Andy's lying now.
What are you talking?
Oh, Andy's freaking out. Andy's melting down.
And maybe I'll drop a bomb after
No,
Baked.
don't.
After Baked
Look,
leaves. I have people DMing me some stuff too, so I know some stuff about Baked.
In what quickly became a ridiculous circus of high adrenaline hysteria, Andy's not so subtle threats were soon escalated to talk of getting Baked Alaska's ass beat by messaging people with what he said. In response, Baked would recoil, talking up the value of friendship in fear of the consequences of Andy's little revelation. It didn't take long for the veil to be lifted and Ice Poseidon's name to be casually passed around like a trans kid at a gay bar.
I'd rather not get into the stuff with Andy.
How come? Why?
Talk privately with him.
Why, Baked? You don't want to reveal what you may be projecting right now? No, dude. You're dead to me. You are dead to me, and I'm gonna message a few people who are involved in this situation that you're projecting. That I'm gonna tell them what you said, and you're gonna get your fucking ass fucking beat.
Oh, I'm gonna get my ass beat.
You better watch the fuck out, Baked.
Oh wow, you
projecting faggot. You projecting faggot.
On record, you just said I'm gonna get my ass beat.
I would love to reveal what I know right now. You want me to say it? Oh, you want me to say
Andy,
it? Okay.
What happened?
Andy,
You know what?
I'm curious.
How about I tell your buddy, you know the one that streams with Ice Poseidon sometimes? I'm gonna message him. I'd love to throw him a little message and tell him what your shenanigans were up to. Maybe he'll back me up.
What are
you gonna be happy?
What are my
You think he'll be happy? You think he'll be happy?
Andy,
with that?
Andy,
Wait,
this
why are you bringing
Wait,
Ice Poseidon into this?
No, not Ice Poseidon. Someone who.
No, you just said Ice Poseidon.
Yeah,
Why are you fucking with Ice Poseidon?
Someone who streamed with Ice Poseidon in the past. You fuck.
We were literally friends a week ago. Why are you trying to?
You're lying about me when you called that person during that night and trying to blame it on me. You fuck.
Dude, you just called Andy a fucking cokehead backstabber.
You did that night at that. Okay,
dude, all you've been doing is talking shit about me on your streams for the last 36 hours.
Whose house it was, who you called to bring a certain thing over, and who was all doing that stuff.
The question as to why a supposedly sober Baked Alaska would have a coke dealer on speed dial was also asked, with no real response given. The remainder of the stream played out more or less as expected. In a move that surprised absolutely no one, Tonka Saw offered yet another of his pretend IRL fights, only for Baked Alaska to cower and ask for pictures first. Meanwhile, Baked later talked of Andy begging him to get coke before accusing Ralph of being an SJW for almost no reason whatsoever. Baked would then brag about his integral part in the movement's fight against Antifa, only to later admit to being a meth head by his own retarded standard. And to round up yet another outlandish day of internet blood sports, Andy's entire family were, rather predictably, doxxed live by Baked Alaska's Discord server.
Stop being coke, Andy.
You smoked meth, buddy. You smoked meth. What are you talking about?
I never smoked
meth.
meth.
Yes, you did. You admitted it live. You
no, I snorted meth.
Okay,
okay.
Okay, so you fucking meth head we're talking to right now.
One time.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You're
right.
a fucking wreck, Baked. At least
Well,
Andy's
by your standards, once a meth, always a meth.
Yeah, by your standard, you're a meth head now, Baked. Good job.
I outlasted Andy.
The
I
Ralph report
outlasted
is in
Ralph.
leaps and bounds better shape than you.
Everyone else
That's
lost
a
their
fact
cool.
of life, Baked.
I'm actually on the phone right
Pillsbury
now.
fuck.
I'm actually on the phone right now with my dad because my
Pillsbury
entire
fucking
family was doxxed. So I'm in the middle of a call with my dad.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Andy.
Do you advocate for that there, Baked?
Well,
No, I
your
don't.
fans, because your fans did that thing.
Oh, he's really broken up about it.
My
Yeah.
sister's phone number, all that stuff was doxxed. I have
Nobody should.
I have proof, buddy.
Yeah, he's broken up about it.
I was trying to be the nicest out of everyone, but whatever, man. It's fine. It's fine.
I've not done anything to you, Andy.
With the IBS community well and truly behind him, Baked Alaska could now refocus his efforts back towards prancing around Los Angeles for a $2 donation. And as one of CX Network's Tier 1 leeches, his exposure to the so-called King of IRL would at least go some way to lining his pockets. And it wasn't long before worlds would collide, with Baked Alaska dragging Ice Poseidon to a real-life leftist rally.
Alright. Holy shit.
Oh my god,
Come on, let's fucking.
Yo, Antifa's coming. Go, 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 go. Fuck.
We're not.
I'm just saying, like, why would we leave? Let's stop. Let's stay and talk to them.
He wants to befriend
They
Antifa.
won't talk.
Antifa's a bunch of buffoons and monkeys.
But mounting pressure from former fans would continue to follow Baked Alaska, who were unimpressed by his sudden shift away from saving the white race and naming that Jew. All of a sudden, he's frolicking around California chasing celebrity amongst the West Coast's most desperate marks, leaving thousands of followers feeling totally alienated and betrayed. Unfortunately for the bearded simpleton, his past would once again rear its ugly bloated head, with Mr. Metica once more showing up to ruin Baked Alaska's morning. After giving Ice Poseidon the lowdown on Baked Alaska's heated confrontation with Andy Warski regarding which big streamer was supplying cocaine to whom and where, a flustered Baked was brought in by Ice and his incompetent manager Scuffed Steve Jobs to address the entire drama live.
They get into this big argument about where they're going to buy cocaine, him and Andy Warski. And during the entire argument, your name gets dropped about 17 times by the both of them.
Why are they dropping my name? What were they saying?
Ice Poseidon. Well, they kept dancing around the subject. Oh, it's a really big streamer. It's a really big streamer with people associated. We're buying this shit at his house. So Baked made it sound like he had phone records of a drug deal that took place where you are. So that's where that shit comes from. I mean, you can see it on the stream. It's all up there. But nobody, like, pulled your name out of thin air. It's because these two fucking retards decided to put your name out there and talk about their coke deals in public.
Why would they talk about that, though? That's what confuses me. Why would anyone want to bring that up and make themselves look stupid?
I never said you have coke in your place, and I'm not.
Baked, when you were arguing with Andy Warski on that morning show, you immediately jump in to Andy and say, you're a cokehead. Then you tell him you have records of drug deals you keep on your phone to prove it. And then when Andy gets angry back at you and says, well, yeah, where did you go to buy it? Implying that you were the one who hooked him up. You two idiots start to fucking drop Ice Poseidon's name like it's fucking candy at Christmas.
I'm just pissed. I'm just kind of pissed that he did coke in my bathroom when I wasn't even home. Like, how did he even get in my house?
Warski was with me. We were friends at the
time. There you go. There you go. That's good old Baked.
What do you mean? You didn't know we did coke?
I didn't know they were gonna do coke in your bathroom. No.
We
were there to meet up with Steve Jobs, and we were talking about management stuff. We were going to talk with Warski's manager. We were talking about getting strikes removed and stuff like that. I don't do coke. I'm very against that.
And although Baked had survived the initial grilling, Ice Poseidon's somewhat enthusiastic subreddit refused to let the man slide, Pages of posts highlighting Baked Alaska's checkered history of Nazi bra kike memes had Danino severely concerned for his already tarnished image. And having further investigated Baked Alaska courtesy of some far from complimentary articles linking him to the literal reanimation of Adolf Hitler, the decision was finally made. Baked was immediately ostracized from the CX network.
We'll talk to him about this. We'll see what he thinks about this, because I don't know much about Baked Alaska. I'm not into politics. Like, I don't fucking know, but we'll see what all this is about, dude. Wow. Okay, hold on. People really are fucking hating on him. So what's going on with Baked Alaska, dude? So there's this media. Is he a Nazi?
Not that I know of.
Like, I don't want to get attacked by the media for hanging out with him. You know what I mean?
Just ban him from the house.
So, alright. And I also don't want drama, dude. With the political drama is not what I want.
Political drama is the worst.
Because then, like, you know, YouTube, people who might work at YouTube will be like, oh yeah, fucking, fucking just ban Ice Poseidon because he's working with some Nazi. I think Baked Alaska is a nice guy too, but I mean, I'm not going to hang out with him if it's going to cause all this drama and controversy. Fuck that shit, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, it's just better not to have him on the stream, right?
Yeah. If every time he comes on stream, this shit happens, then of course you don't want him on the stream.
Okay, so that's what it'll be then.
The next few months were amongst Baked Alaska's lowest. He once again relocated to America's most northern state, and even attempted to squeeze his lumpy torso back into his now ill-fitting MAGA costume. A few posts to Gab and a brand new song titled "Trump is My President" pretty much came and went, with fewer and fewer people paying attention to what they now saw as a shape-shifting hack with the integrity of a pedophile.
This is my president, this is my president, this is my president, Trump is my president.
In his anxious scramble for a new identity following the failure of MAGA 2.0, Baked Alaska would seemingly try anything, and it was Andrew Yang's $1,000 giveaway that had Baked's opportunist ears pricked, with the meme-killing wigger ready to cringe up yet another movement.
Yang gang, $1,000 got the same thing. Yang gang, my bitch got a wedding ring. Yang gang, $1,000 got the same thing. Yang gang, gonna go make baby.
As more time passed, the landscape surrounding Baked Alaska began to change. Internet BLOODSPORTS was now considered old hat, whilst Tonka and Warski had each seen their entire worlds fall into meltdown following a series of really gay and really dumb shit I've absolutely no interest in elaborating on. Essentially, having waited for the final remnants of E-drama dust to settle, a bunch of IBS veterans led by Eating Ralph approached Baked Alaska, suggesting he take part in a light-hearted MMA bout with Andy Warski. This was seen as a final chance at salvation for the failed parody artist, who agreed subject to a list of demands.
I want to challenge Baked Alaska. Baked Alaska. Baked at VidCon. Same time around VidCon in July in LA. Baked Alaska. We messaged you. Come on, man. Come on, let's do it, buddy.
So yeah, a lot of people are asking about the fight. So I'm down to fight. I told Warski I accept his offer. I'm down to fight. Andy or Ralph or whoever they want me to fight, I'm down.
Unfortunately, the long-awaited downfall of Andy Warski was at this point reaching its own ridiculous peak, and any prospect of a Baked Alaska redemption arc would have to stay the fuck back. But it was what followed that would leave those for some reason still paying attention to this tiring corner of the internet in a perpetual state of astonishment. And although it was generally accepted at this stage that Baked Alaska had no real allegiance to any particular movement or community, the sheer fucking audacity of his next move would leave those on Kiwi Farm suffering some sort of anaphylactic shock. Sporting a brand new bleached cut, Baked Alaska would address his tens of fans outlining how it's his responsibility to once and for all expose the alt-right from within.
A lot of people are talking about whether the shooter was left-wing or right-wing, and I just found that really strange because to me, all the signs are there that this guy is clearly a right-wing extremist. If you guys don't know, I recently left the alt-right, and I feel like it's my responsibility and duty to give a more honest take on the situation. This shooting was highly influenced by internet online meme culture. And I know, because I've been sucked into that same culture.
Everything he does is the 101 playbook for right-wing extremists, and I know because I've hung around these guys in the past. He had the 14 words on his rifle. He put his manifesto on 8chan full of memes and edgy posting. And I know exactly what this is. I'm calling it out for what it is. This guy was a white supremacist, he was alt-right, he was a right-wing extremist, and he killed a ton of innocent people. I regret ever contributing anything to that culture, but I'm not gonna pretend like this shooting is something that it wasn't.
The utter nerve of this man to use a mass shooting as the platform for his latest rebrand left those watching baffled as how unaware he truly is. After all, to choose this moment as his big opportunity for atonement only served to validate every suspicion critics have of Baked Alaska. The most striking element to Baked Alaska's final heel turn was just how transparent his motives were. In telling a story of a bad boy turned good, he was clearly on the prowl for some sort of mainstream acceptance and positive press. As it happened, nobody either believed him or gave enough of a shit to notice. His solution? Double down and offer himself up as some sort of cautionary tale for shitposting Zoomers.
As you guys know, I used to be part of the alt-right. I used to be part of these meme cultures. And I've decided to use my platform to let kids know that this is not okay. You don't want to be part of this culture. Like, I joined it thinking, oh, these are funny, edgy jokes. This is super hilarious. There's lots of trolling, you know, and I still love the memes. I love trolling, but this sort of trolling goes too far. Listen to my story. I was just a normal guy who liked memes, and I got radicalized. I got into this stuff, and I ended up at Charlottesville, which was a terrible situation. What I am calling out is right-wing extremism because it's out of control. Look at these 8chan posts right now. There was just a shooting in a synagogue, which is absolutely unacceptable and horrendous. And you see all these people, all these right-wing people cheering on the shooter. The fact that right-wing people are calling to murder Jewish people on 8chan over the shooting is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It needs to stop.
And finally, we arrive at Baked Alaska's current destination, one that in so many ways represents a fitting end to a pitiful career in e-celebrity. Ashton Birdie, another of your run-of-the-mill cleavage conservatives, saw in Baked Alaska an opportunity to freshen up her own dying brand of alt-light thottery. And by uniting forces, the pair could begin an entirely new saga of internet dramatics to once again extend their long-expired shelf life. The only obstacle? Ashton was a batshit insane person. Not only had she fucked her way clean through practically every big name of YouTube's right wing, she was clearly in need of immediate psychological intervention. And having seen romantic relations with Paul Joseph Watson dismantle into an obsessive emotional breakdown, Ashton was on the hunt for yet another susceptible influencer to wrap her pretty little legs around. Meanwhile, despite having been told by Ice Poseidon himself to eat a dick faggot, Baked Alaska's IRL dreams would see something of a revival. Hampton Brandon, a provocative knobhead formerly of CX Circles, offered Baked Alaska yet another chance at the spotlight courtesy of his network TTD.
Do a 360 flip right now, Baked. You want to be on the militia?
I gotta do 360 flip.
You have to be able to skate on this motherfucker.
I can skate, bro. Sorry. My arm.
Baked Alaska would use his new platform to help explain the real reason behind his expulsion from Ice Poseidon's CX network. He would claim an iPad belonging to a 50-something valley girl named Corinne was stolen at Ice Poseidon's apartment, with former manager Scuff Steve Jobs the sticky-fingered culprit. Apparently, their lack of character was a red line for the former white nationalist.
Who are you working for?
Nah, I'm a free agent, man. Fuck SSJ.
Why do you say fuck SSJ? Who is that?
He used to be my manager.
No
He's
way.
a fucking snake, yeah.
What happened, bro?
He stole...
Talk more, say more, talk more.
Well, him and I stole Corinne's iPad. Made me lie about it and cover up for it.
Why would they steal Corinne's iPad? What did she have
Because they fucking steal everything. They're fucking pathological liars.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
You're fucking lying.
No, I'm not.
Dude, look at you smiling, bro. They don't steal shit.
Alright.
They did steal my shit. Tell me more about how he stole Corinne's iPad. What the fuck?
I mean, it's whatever.
Who is that, bro? They're
I just think that they have bad character. They're like not good people.
How would you know that they stole something though?
Because I saw it in front of my hands. I was at Ice's house. Like, they literally took it and then.
The Taurus, are you clipping this?
I'm not trying to snitch or anything.
Is anyone clipping this?
I just don't think they're good people.
So you're someone who knows them personally and you don't think he's a good guy?
Yeah, he was my manager. And then when like people started attacking me, like he just ditched me, like that.
When they said you were a racist, Nazi.
Yeah, I know all those.
What happened?
As for Ashton, her apparent devotion to Timothy Giornet resulted in her decision to leave politics, quit social media, and renew her totally genuine devotion to the almighty being himself. To reiterate, this girl is certifiably insane. But it appeared this sudden reaffirmation to all things trad thought only masked a far more insidious reality. In a tweet sent by Baked Alaska's @YobaGang alt account, it was revealed that Ashton Whitty, the alt-right's token cool girl, had inevitably cheated on him. Former president of the Berkeley College Republicans, Troy Warden, would become the latest in a long line of men to cook the living shit out of Baked Alaska. Fortunately for Ashton, given the levels of depravity already sunk to by Baked Alaska during his brush with E-Celebrity, the prospect of his girl fucking other guys with impunity was hardly the worst thing he'd been subject to.
We're back together. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to answer some difficult questions. And we're going to talk about what happened, which is like not easy for us. We are back together.
It's a complicated story.
It's a complicated story.
She lost misunderstandings and a lot of overreactions from both of us.
Yes, I would agree. Lots of overreaction from both of us. A lot of miscommunication. And a lot of what? Misunderstandings. A lot of drama has happened. A lot of stuff between us, but like at the end of the day, you know, we want to be happy. We want to love each other. We want to be positive. And that's what we're going to do. So, yeah, I overreacted. Ashton didn't actually cheat on me. She texted her ex.
Whoa, okay, say this.
Let me say my part first.
Okay.
I caught her texting her ex.
Yeah, I don't matter.
It wasn't anything sexual or anything like that, but it wasn't flirtatious, but she lied to me and hid it from me, and so I was really, really hurt by that, and so I considered that cheating, like emotionally.
Other than a slip up here and there, life for the young couple would continue largely drama-free. That is, if you ignore knife-wielding suicide threats by a girl who quite honestly should have been committed years ago.
What happened? What happened? Okay, go in there. Wait, Gilbert!
What?
Stop. My god, this is content. Oh my god, do not get me banned. Do not get me banned. Do not get me banned off D-Live.
Why? You just pulled out a knife. No, not cool. Every time I have a successful stream, you want to make it all about you.
Thank you for doing that.
You don't have a single cut on you.
What are you doing? You didn't cut yourself. You grabbed a knife for attention. Should I call the hospital?
No, do not call the hospital.
You have a cut on your arm, dude.
Oh my god. Call the hospital.
Where are you going?
Call the hospital.
Should I?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's time for her to get a vacation.
For the same thing.
This is ridiculous.
Why is it ridiculous?
This is what happens when people have to call you crazy and toxic for over and over and over
What are you
again.
I'm talking to you. Are you going to call this? Yeah, hey, Tim, this was your good idea? Yes. Sorry, I'm just drinking some water because I'm having a little anxiety. Yeah, where are you?
Brandon, open the fucking door.
She said she had a knife. First knife. I think it went into.
And there we have it, the life and times of Baked Alaska. A man to whom fame means absolutely everything. Whether at the expense of his supposed ideological interests, his friends, his fans, or at times his dignity, this relentless pursuit of E-Celebrity would only continue to dictate his every move. Not that a content creator is in any way prohibited from natural growth, quite the contrary. It's perfectly normal for many YouTubers to be continuously developing their ideas in an effortless flow, and as gay as it sounds, taking their fans on a journey as they expand their understanding. But when these changes are forced, abrupt, and a direct result of bad faith motives, people tend to stand up and take note. Like it or not, to the viewer it seemed that Baked Alaska's drastic heel turns came only at times of stress or opportunity, and given his position as a political figure at a time of serious divisiveness, the effects of these sudden course corrections were severely amplified. As a result, his once dedicated following are objectively entitled to a legitimate feeling of betrayal. To them, Baked Alaska is a parasitic user, jumping from community to community in hopes of draining more of their unwavering attention and delicious super chats. The story of Baked Alaska should act as a cautionary tale to aspiring E-Celebs everywhere. You are your following. Lose them at your peril.
Shit!